everybody, welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how to play the guitar solos from the Huey Lewis and the News song Heart and Soul. Now I call them guitar solos, you might want to call them guitar lead breaks, whatever you want to call them. They're fun, they're just fun to play, they're catchy, they're memorable, and they just fit so well in the song, which is something guitarist Chris Hayes was very well known to do. Now if you found this video helpful or informative, I would appreciate a thumbs up because it does help my videos get a little bit more exposure. And if you want to catch all my content as soon as it's available, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. And then if you've got any questions or comments, leave those down below and I'll attempt to answer the questions as time allows. Now if you're interested in getting a copy of the custom tabs that I've created for this video or the awesome backing track from Jam Kazam, I'll put information down in the video description. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play those leads again for you, this time with the tabs on the screen. That way the more advanced players can get through this more quickly. Then after that, for everybody else, I'm going to break it down note by note. Let's go. Now I want to call something out up front that you may have noticed if perhaps you were listening with headphones on. These parts are doubled. A lot of these lead parts are doubled. So for example, this whole section here, section 1, Chris Hayes recorded it twice. Once, one of the tracks is in the right speaker and the other is in the left speaker. He's playing the same thing, but it creates kind of a doubling chorusy type of effect. Okay, now as we go through this lesson, I'm going to play you the most dominant notes that are heard. Now, he's always playing the same notes, but sometimes, like for example, in the right speaker, he might palm mute a note, whereas in the left speaker, that same note might not be palm muted, or he might apply like a semi-pinch harmonic in one speaker and not the other to the same note, if that makes sense. So he's doubling it, but sometimes there's a little difference in how he attacks the string. I'm not going to get that granular with this one. I'm just going to play whatever sounds the most dominant in the mix. So if that palm mute sounds more dominant than the non-palm muted note that was in the other speaker, I'm going to tab it as palm muted, etc. I hope that makes sense. All right, section 1 goes like this. Let's break it up into 2 boxes, and in the first, so we're going to start with 12A, 11D, 12A. It's 12, 11, 12, palm muted. And then we continue with the palm muting, 9G, followed by 11, 10, 9D. Here's what we have so far. Again. Then on the G string, not palm muted, 11, 10, 9 vibrato. Let me play that first box a few times for you. Now in the second box we play. So we start similarly. We've got 12A, 11D, 12A palm muted. Then 9G, not palm muted. 11, 9D palm muted. So far in that second box. Again. And then 11, 10, 9 on the G string ad vibrato. Now I'm going to tie both boxes together and I'll play section 1 one more time for you. Okay, let's move on to section 2. Now with section 2, that's where the overdubbed harmonies start to come into play. But underneath it, here's the part you're going to learn first. That's the foundation, or the main part of section 2. I'll show you the harmony overdub parts here in a minute. So let's break this up into 2 boxes. And in the first, now you've already learned all of that. I'm just going to call out that the first 3 notes are palm muted. And then after the 9 of G, the next 3 notes are palm muted. Okay? Now in the second box, we play this. It's very similar to what we did in the first box with 2 differences. First of all, in the first box, when we play on the D string 11, 10, 9, in the second box, we replace that with 11, 11, 9. Now, when I was first transcribing this, I got really hung up on that because I expected the second box to also have 11, 10, 9 on D. But when it came time to figure out the harmonies, it just wasn't working out. So that's when I figured out he actually played 11, 11, 9 instead. And then the other difference is at the very end, when you do 9 on G and add vibrato, you're going to slide down after that. 2 very basic differences. Here's that second box again for you a couple times. Okay, now for the overdubbed harmony parts. And I am going to show you what's different between the left and right speakers because it is quite different. So first of all, in the right side, you've got 2 parts. The first is, okay, that's the first harmony part. So in the first box, you play that over, and then in the second box, you play it over. So what it is 9E, 10B, 9G, 12D. 9, 10, 9, 12. And the 12D is palm muted. Okay, that happens in both boxes. And then over. Now the second overdub in the right speaker goes like this. So it's 12E, 14B, and then palm muted 14, 12G. That's in the second box of section 2 over the and the. Okay, you're just going to overdub that part on top. Now in the left speaker, you're going to play this harmony part that you've already learned. And it's really faint. You can barely hear it over this part. But you definitely hear it over this part. Okay, now this is the part where if you've got 1 or even 2 guitar players live, you might be thinking, how am I going to handle this layering, right? You've got the foundation and then you've got the 2 overdubs on top. Well, if you've got 2 guitar players, we'll come to 1 guitar player in a second. If you've got 2, I think one person just plays the, right? He does that part underneath. And then on top of that, you play. That's what I would do because then you're kind of covering most of your bases. Now, if you've only got 1 guitar player in your band or you're not planning on doing overdubs, I think you just play exactly what I just showed you. That second guitar player part, play that. I think that'll sound best to your audience's ears, but experiment with it and have fun. Section 3 is going to go like this. Let's break it up into 2 boxes, and in the first, so we start on the G string, 2nd fret 4 times. The first 2 times are palm muted. Now that's an example of where it was slightly different in both speakers. So in the right speaker, I believe it was, he's doing exactly what I'm showing you, but in the left speaker, he palm mutes the 2nd fret of G 3 times at the beginning, like as opposed to. Again, either way you should be fine, but I'm trying to keep things simple for you guys. All All right, then we move down to the D string, 5-4-2 vibrato. So far in that first box. Then we're going to play on the A string, 5-2 slide to 4. Notice that after I play the 5th fret of A, I pivot my hand down the fretboard so that I can use my ring finger to slide from 2 to 4. As opposed to, the reason I do that is because that positions my hand for the next note, which is 2nd fret of G. Okay? All right, let me play that first box a few times for you. Now in the second box, we'll play. So we start on the G string, 2nd fret 3 times, and then add vibrato. Now I didn't call this technique out earlier, but you'll notice that I don't let the first note ring out. Right? I stop it from ringing, as opposed to letting it ring. That happens quite a bit throughout these leads. I'm not going to call it out when I do that. Just make sure you use your ear to know when to let a note ring out and when not to. And then on the D string, 5-4-2 vibrato. So far in the second box. Then we're going to do that little movement on the A string where we do 5-2 slide to 4. But this time at the end we do a open A palm muted. Now this is another one of those examples where actually this is quite different. This is what he's doing in the right speaker. In the left speaker, he ends with the 2nd fret of G. He does that. But because that low A palm muted note is more dominant in the mix, that's what I'm teaching you. I suppose you could combine them. Something like that. But I'm trying to keep things simple. All right, let me play that second box again for you a few times. All right, now I'm going to tie both boxes together and play section 3 one more time for you. Okay, let's move on to section 4. Section 4 is going to go like this. Let's break it up into 2 boxes, and in the first. Now we've already learned all that, so I'm not going to walk you through every note again. Just know that there's some pinch harmonics, or I should say semi-pinch harmonics, because again, Chris wasn't using a ton of distortion. So basically the 3rd, 4th, and 5th notes, and the final note are those semi-pinch harmonics. Then in the second box, so it's 2nd fret of G 3 times, 3rd time add a semi-pinch harmonic vibrato, and then 5-4-5 D vibrato slide down. Now again, with those pinch harmonics, that's an example of where it might be in one speaker and not the other, so don't get too hung up on it. Just throw in pinch harmonics where it feels comfortable. Here's section 4 one more time. Let's move on to section 5. Okay, now for section 5, and this is where the fade out of the song starts. We'll break it up into 2 boxes, and in the first, and once again, you've already learned all that, so I won't walk through every note, but I'll play it one more time. And then in the second box, so we start on the 2nd fret of the G string 3 times, add vibrato. A little bit different from the second box of box 4, right, where we went. This time it's more straightforward. And then on the D string, 5-4-5 vibrato slide down. I'll tie both boxes together and play section 5 one more time. Okay, let's move on to section 6. Here's section 6. We'll break it up into 2 boxes, and in the first, now once again, I'm not going to walk you through all that because you've already learned it. I'll just call out that you've got some semi-pinch harmonics on the 4th, 5th, and 6th notes. Then in the second box, we'll play. So it's a 2nd fret of G 4 times quicker than you've been doing it previously. Right? Because before you would play this time. And then on the D string, 5-4-5 vibrato slide down. All right, let's tie both boxes together and play section 6 one more time. Let's move on to section 7. All right, here's section 7. Now again, I've broken it up into 2 boxes, but I'm not going to walk you through it because you've already learned all that. In the first box, I will call out that the 4th time you play the 2nd fret of G, give it a wider vibrato. And then the next 3 notes on the D string are all semi-pinch harmonics. And then in the second box, the first 3 notes are semi-pinch harmonics. All right, well, I'll tie both boxes together and play section 7 one more time for you. All right, let's move on to the final section, section 8. Here's section 8. Now, once again, you've already learned all that. I'm just going to call out that the 4th note in the first box on the 2nd fret of G, there's a pinch harmonic, semi-pinch harmonic with a wide vibrato. And then the next 3 notes on the D string have pinch harmonics. And then the final note in the first box has a semi-pinch harmonic. And then in the second box, again, you've learned that. I'll just call out that the final note has a semi-pinch harmonic. And you slide down. Now, I do want to call out one more thing. If you listen really carefully to the right speaker, you're going to hear something slightly different. Now, I recommend playing it to the way that I just taught you. But if you want to know the little secret notes that he added in the right speaker, at the beginning of the second box, he goes. So that's some string scratches, followed by open A twice. He does that, replacing the 2nd fret of G the first time, like this. Now let me play section 8 in its entirety with that phrase added in. Sounds pretty cool, right? But it's kind of hard to hear in the mix. That's why I recommend learning it the other way, because most people are not going to hear that little. So it's better just to play it the other way. All right, now I'm going to play section 8 one more time for you. All right, let's wrap it up. That was my lesson on how to play the guitar solos from the Huey Lewis and the News song Heart and Soul. If you found it helpful or informative, I would appreciate a thumbs up, and please hit that subscribe button to catch all my content as soon as it's available. And if you've got any questions or comments, leave those down below, and I'll attempt to answer the questions as time allows. Until next time, rock on.